It was a quiet Monday morning in the small town of Green Hollow. The sun peeked through the window, casting a soft golden light into the bedroom where 10-year-old Ayla was getting ready for school. Ayla was a cheerful little girl with big brown eyes and curly hair tied in two small puffs. She loved school, especially art class, and always picked out her outfit the night before. Today she was wearing her favorite pink sweater with a cat on it. Her mother, Lena, was in the kitchen packing lunch. She was a hard-working woman, kind, but often in a rush. She balanced her job, her house, and raising Ayla all on her own. Every morning was a race against time: breakfast, lunch, homework checks, and a quick goodbye at the door. As Ayla brushed her hair in front of the mirror, she frowned. She gently touched her neck and turned to the side. Just below her ear, near her jawline, was a small red bump. Didn't look like much, just a tiny dot like a pimple or bug bite, but it hurt a little when she pressed it. "Mom," she called out, stepping into the hallway. Lena appeared, holding Ayla's lunchbox. "Yes, sweetheart. There's something on my neck," Ayla said. "It kind of hurts." Lena leaned down to look. "Oh, that?" she said with a quick glance. "It's just a pimple, or maybe a mosquito bite. It'll go away soon, don't worry." Ayla nodded slowly. "Okay." Lena smiled, kissed her forehead, and handed her the lunchbox. "Now go grab your shoes, we're late already." As they left the house and walked to the car, Ayla kept touching the bump. It wasn't big, but it felt strange. Not like other pimples she had before. It felt like it was sitting on her skin, but also inside somehow. At school, she tried not to think about it. She laughed with her friends, painted a tree in art class, and answered questions in science. But by lunchtime, the bump felt warmer. It didn't hurt badly, but it made her neck stiff, like something was pulling. When she got home, Ayla sat at the kitchen table while Lena cooked dinner. "My neck still hurts," she said softly. Lena, stirring a pot of soup, looked over. "Still? Well, if it doesn't go away by tomorrow, we'll put some cream on it." "Okay." Ayla wanted to tell her it felt like it was getting bigger, but her mom looked so tired. Her shoulders were heavy, and she hadn't even changed out of her work clothes yet. So Ayla just nodded and said nothing more. Later that night, after homework and cartoons, Ayla changed into her pajamas. She looked at the bump in the mirror again. It was still red, but now it looked a little shiny. She touched it lightly. It pulsed, like it had a tiny heartbeat. Ayla stepped back in surprise. "That's weird," she whispered. She climbed into bed and turned off the lamp. The room was dark, and only the moonlight from the window lit up the corners. As she pulled her blanket over herself, she felt a slight warmth against her neck. She turned onto her side and closed her eyes. Lena walked in a few minutes later to check on her. She smiled at her daughter, sleeping peacefully. Her soft curls rested on the pillow, her little arms tucked under her cheek. Lena leaned down, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Good night, my baby." She was about to walk out when she noticed a faint glow. It was soft, barely there, but she paused. Was it the moonlight? She stepped closer and looked around. Nothing. Just Ayla, sleeping like always. She turned off the hallway light and shut the door. But as the room returned to darkness, the glow on Ayla's neck returned. Very faint. A dull red, like the light of a sleeping electronic device. The small bump pulsed gently, like it was alive. Ayla shifted in her sleep, whispering, something unclear. Her fingers touched the bump as if trying to calm it. The night was still, the world outside was quiet. But something had begun inside that little red bump. Something strange, something unknown. And no one had noticed yet. Not her friends. Not the teacher. Not even her own mother. But it had started, and it would not stop. The next morning, Ayla woke. Up slowly. Her eyes blinked against the morning light as she sat up in bed. She reached for her neck without thinking, and froze. The bump was still there, but now it felt bigger. She ran to the mirror. Her eyes widened. The red bump had grown. It was now the size of a grape. It wasn't flat anymore. It looked round, swollen and shiny, like there was something under her skin trying to push out. "Mom!" she called out, louder than usual. Lena rushed into the room, still in her robe. "What's wrong?" Ayla turned her neck to the side. "Look!" Lena's face changed. Her smile disappeared. She stepped closer. "That's not just a pimple anymore." She reached out and touched, gently. It felt warm, warmer than the rest of Ayla's skin. "Does it hurt?" Lena asked. "A little, but it feels tight, like something's pulling," Ayla said, her voice shaking. Lena's heart began to race. She didn't want to scare her daughter, but something didn't feel right. "Okay," she said. "I'll keep you home today. We'll go to the clinic." Ayla nodded, relieved. She didn't want to go to school with something weird growing on her neck. At the small-town clinic, the nurse took them into a room. The doctor, a kind old man named Dr. Harlan, came in with a clipboard and a soft smile. "So, what do we have here?" he asked. Lena explained quickly. Dr. Harlan listened, and then asked Ayla to turn her head. As soon as he saw the bump, his eyes narrowed slightly. He pressed it gently with his gloved fingers. "Does this hurt?" "A little." He nodded slowly and took a deep breath. "It doesn't look like a regular infection," he said, "and it's not a simple cyst. Either. It's odd." Lena looked nervous. "What do you mean?" Dr. Harlan scratched his head. "I'll give her some antibiotics for now, but I want you to watch it. If it keeps growing, or if she starts feeling sick, come back right away." Ayla got dressed and they drove home. That night, Lena sat on the couch holding her phone tightly. She kept searching online for things like child neck lump red and growing, glowing pimple in children, pimple that pulses and gets bigger, but the results were strange or not helpful. One post mentioned parasites. Another said tumors. One random forum had a story about a girl who had something hatch under her skin. Lena slammed her phone down and took a deep breath. "This can't be that," she whispered. Ayla was in her room drawing. She didn't seem scared, just uncomfortable. She rubbed her neck often and said it felt itchy now. By the time Lena tucked her into bed, the bump had turned darker red. It was now almost purple in the center, and tiny veins were starting to show around it. Lena couldn't sleep that night. Every sound in the house made her sit up. She checked on Ayla 3 times. Each time, her daughter was asleep, breathing fine, but the bump looked even bigger. At 3 a.m., Lena stood by Ayla's bed and stared. The bump was glowing again, but this time it was stronger. She could see the light even through Ayla's blanket. Lena reached down and gently touched it. The skin was hot, not burning but too warm for comfort. And as she touched it, the bump pulsed, as if something inside responded to her finger. Lena pulled her hand back, heart racing. "This isn't normal," she whispered to herself. She looked at her daughter, her sweet, innocent daughter, sleeping peacefully while something unknown grew inside her. The next morning, Ayla opened her eyes slowly. "Mom," she said weakly. Lena ran to her side. "Yes, baby?" "I feel tired," Ayla said, "and my head feels weird, like it's floating." Lena didn't wait. She grabbed her keys, lifted Ayla into her arms, and rushed her to the hospital. Whatever was inside that bump was changing, and time was running out. The hospital emergency room was quiet in the early morning hours. Most of the staff moved slowly, still waking up. But Lena rushed through the doors like a storm, holding Ayla close to her chest. "My daughter," she said, out of breath. "Something's wrong with her neck." A nurse took one look and rushed to call a doctor. They laid Ayla down on a hospital bed. Her skin looked pale and her eyes blinked slowly like she was dizzy. But the bump on her neck, it looked angry now. Red veins circled it like roots, and the purple center was pulsing gently like a heartbeat. A young female doctor named Dr. Ilara entered. She looked calm, but her eyes widened when she saw the bump. "Let's get an ultrasound," she said quickly. "And draw blood." They wheeled Ayla to a small room. Lena walked beside her, holding her hand tightly. Inside the room, a nurse spread gel on Ayla's neck. Then Dr. Ilara used the ultrasound device and stared at the monitor. "What is it?" Lena asked. Dr. Ilara didn't answer right away. The screen showed something strange. Inside the bump, something was moving. Not fast, but slowly shifting. It looked like layers, maybe even shapes. Like petals or fingers. "That's not fluid," Dr. Ilara whispered. "That's solid, but not like a tumor." She turned to Lena. "I've never seen anything like this." Lena's heart sank. "So what does that mean?" "We'll need a scan," Dr. Ilara said, "and a specialist." They moved Ayla to another room and hooked her up to machines. Her blood pressure was low. Her temperature was high. Ayla looked up at her mom. "I'm scared," she whispered. Lena kissed her forehead. "I'm here. You're safe. I promise." But inside she was breaking. She couldn't protect her daughter from something she didn't understand. Hours passed. Nurses came and went. Blood tests were done, but no one gave answers. Finally, a tall man in a lab coat came into the room. He looked different, more serious, older, and quiet. His name tag read Dr. Morrow, Infectious Disease. He nodded at Lena. "I saw the scans," he said. "I need to ask, have you traveled anywhere strange recently? Forests, islands, farms?" Lena shook her head. "No, we've been home, school, and work." "That's it," he frowned. "Then this doesn't make sense." He pulled out a folder and showed Lena some photos. They were old medical cases from different countries, mostly blurry and black and white. One photo showed a child with a similar deck bump. Another photo showed what had come out of it, a long, root-like growth with tiny tendrils. Lena covered her mouth. "No, that can't be real," Dr. Morrow said softly. "Some believe these cases were caused by unknown spores or organisms, something ancient, something we don't have a name for. But this is my daughter," Lena said, her voice breaking. "She was fine. She's just a kid." "I understand," Dr. Morrow said. "But something is growing inside her, and it's not bacterial, not viral, and not normal." Then the heart monitor beeped faster. Ayla's eyes fluttered. She looked afraid. The bump on her neck suddenly moved, just a little, but enough for the room to go silent. The skin around it stretched. A tiny crack opened in the center of the bump, like it was splitting. Lena screamed, "Do something!" Dr. Morrow ran to the bed. "We need to sedate her, now!" A nurse injected a clear fluid into the IV line. Ayla's eyes slowly closed. Then, something wet and clear leaked from the crack in the bump. It wasn't blood. It was glowing. The doctor stepped back, shocked. This is not human biology." Suddenly, every light in the room flickered. Machines beeped. The walls felt colder, and something deep inside Ayla's bump twitched again. Dr. Morrow turned to Lena. "I need to call someone." "Who?" she asked. "Someone who studies things not in our medical books." Lena held Ayla's hand tighter, her mind spinning with fear. She thought this was just a pimple. Now something unknown, maybe not even from Earth, was growing inside her daughter, and time was running out. Dr. Morrow stepped out of the hospital room, his face pale and serious. Lena sat beside her daughter Ayla, who lay unconscious on the hospital bed. The bump on Ayla's neck was now glowing softly. Through the bandage, machines beeped around her, but the real danger was something no machine could explain. Lena watched the door. She had so many questions, but no one had answers. Behind the door, Dr. Morrow walked quickly through the hallway. He didn't use his hospital phone. Instead, he pulled out an old black satellite phone from his coat pocket. The kind normal doctors didn't carry. He dialed a long number. It rang once, then silence, then a voice. "Sector X, clearance code? Delta 7, Morrow. Urgent biological anomaly, civilian case, child possibly extraterrestrial." There was a pause. Then the voice replied, "Location. Greenstone General Hospital, room 306. It's active. We need a response now. Hold. The subject. We'll be there within 2 hours. No one enters the room until then." Click. Dr. Morrow lowered the phone, took a breath, and returned to the room. Inside, Lena stood up. "Who did you call? Tell me what's happening." Dr. Morrow looked at her carefully. "You need to stay calm. What's inside your daughter is beyond medical science. I contacted a special unit. They study rare biological events, things the public doesn't know about." "You mean the government?" she asked. He hesitated. "Something like that." Lena's voice trembled. "Is my daughter dying?" "I don't know," he said, "but something is alive inside her. And it's not a normal parasite. It's changing her." Lena sat back down slowly, tears filling her eyes. "This is all my fault. I thought it was just a pimple. I didn't listen when she said it hurt." Ayla stirred slightly. Her fingers twitched. The bump pulsed again. Suddenly, the room temperature dropped. Lena shivered. "Why is it so cold in here?" The lights flickered again. The heart monitor beeped faster. Then Ayla opened her eyes. But something was different. Her eyes were darker than before, deeper, like she was seeing more than just the room. "Mama?" she said weakly. Lena rushed to her side. "I'm here, baby." Ayla blinked. "I had a dream. I saw something." "What did you see?" "There was a cave and light. It wasn't scary. It was calling me." Lena looked at Dr. Morrow in shock. "She's dreaming about light," he whispered. "Some infected children in old reports said the same thing." Just then, a loud knock came at the door. Dr. Morrow opened it, and two people in black suits stepped inside. They wore gloves, dark glasses, and no hospital badges. The man spoke first. "Dr. Morrow?" "Yes. We're taking over this case." Lena stood up. "Who are you?" The woman answered gently. "We're here to help your daughter, but we need to ask you a few questions." She held up a tablet. "Has Ayla touched anything unusual recently? Stones, insects, water from odd places?" Lena shook her head. "No, we haven't even gone camping." "Has she had any strange dreams before today?" "No, just this bump. That's all." The man looked at Ayla closely. He scanned the bump with a handheld device. Beep, beep. Then, the screen on the device flashed a red warning. "Unknown organic signal detected." He looked at his partner. "Confirmed. It's not local." "What does that mean?" Lena asked. The woman paused. "We think it may be something ancient. Something buried deep in Earth's soil for centuries. Something that just woke up." Dr. Morrow added, "And somehow, it chose your daughter." Lena held Ayla's hand tighter. "What are you going to do to her?" "We don't want to harm her," the woman said. "But we need to keep her under observation, somewhere safe." "You mean take her away?" Lena asked, her voice sharp. Before anyone could answer, Ayla gasped. The bump on her neck pulsed hard, then it cracked slightly. More fluid leaked. "Out, this time glowing bright blue," Lena screamed. The machines beeped wildly. Lights in the room burst. The agents backed away. And from Ayla's neck, a thin, glowing root began to grow outward, like it was reaching. Ayla opened her eyes again. This time her voice wasn't her own. "It's not just inside me," she said in a strange, calm voice. "It's waking up everywhere. Everyone in." The room froze. Something bigger was coming. And Ayla was just the beginning. The hospital room was in chaos. The strange vine-like root that came from Ayla's neck had disappeared back under her skin, leaving behind a faint, glowing trail. The two agents in black quickly sealed the room. They ordered the nurses out and locked the door behind them. Lena sat beside her daughter, still shaking. Ayla had passed out again, breathing softly. Her skin was warmer than before. The male agent, whose badge only read Agent R, took out a small scanner and ran it over Ayla again. The device beeped once, then shut off on its own. "That's not good," he said. "What's happening to her?" Lena asked, her voice cracking. Agent R looked at the other agent, a woman with calm eyes and a firm voice. She was called Agent V. Agent V opened a metal case and pulled out a small sealed envelope. It was old and yellow, with a black stamp shaped like a spiral. Dr. Morrow stepped closer. Wait, that's from the 1979 anomaly files. I thought those were sealed. They were, Agent V said. Until now. She opened the envelope and pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was a map, drawn by hand in shaky pencil. It showed the local forest about 12 miles from the hospital. In the center of the map was a black X marked Cave 7X, Origin Site. Agent R handed the map to Lena. We believe this all started there. Something was buried deep inside that cave. Long ago. We don't know who put it there, or why. Lena's hands trembled as she held the map. You think Ayla found it? Agent V nodded. Or it found her. Sometimes the land calls to those who can carry what it hides. She's just a child, Lena said. That's what makes her perfect, Agent R whispered. Pure mind, pure heart. The organism needs a host like that to survive. Lena stared at her daughter, pale and silent on the hospital bed. She couldn't wait for answers anymore. I'm going to that cave, she said firmly. It's not safe, Agent V warned. I don't care, Dr. Morrow stepped in. I'm going with her. Agent V nodded slowly. We'll meet you there, but don't touch anything until we arrive. Later, that night, the sky was dark as Lena and Dr. Morrow drove through the forest. The headlights of the old Jeep bounced across the bumpy path. The trees around them seemed to whisper as the wind blew through the branches. Finally, they stopped at a narrow trail that matched the map. They stepped out with flashlights in hand and started walking into the woods. The deeper they went, the stranger the forest became. The air was cooler. The plants looked thicker. Some leaves glowed faintly in the dark. This place feels alive, Dr. Morrow whispered. Suddenly they saw it, a small rocky hill, hidden behind thick vines. In the side of the hill, covered by moss, was a cave entrance shaped like a jagged mouth. Cave 7X, Lena said. She walked forward, heart pounding. The flashlight beam caught something carved into the stone above the entrance. It wasn't in English, just strange symbols, swirls and circles, some of them glowing faintly, like Ayla's skin had. This can't be natural, Dr. Morrow said. This is intelligent design. They stepped inside. The cave was cool and damp. Water dripped from above. The deeper they walked, the brighter the walls became, covered in those same glowing patterns. And then they saw it. In the center of the cave, surrounded by old tree roots, was a large broken pod. It was made of stone, but smooth like glass. Inside it was nothing. It was here, Lena whispered. Whatever it was, it came from this. Dr. Morrow knelt near the pod and touched the roots. They're still warm, like it left recently. Just then, Lena's flashlight flickered. The air got heavy. A deep hum filled the cave, almost like breathing. The cave was alive. Then she heard something move behind her. She turned quickly. Nothing. But when she turned back, something was now glowing inside the pod again. A soft blue mist, and in the middle of it, a small shape began to form. A tiny handprint. Ayla's handprint. Lena stepped back in shock. How does it know her? Suddenly her phone buzzed. It was the hospital. The nurse's voice came through. Panicked. Ma'am, Ayla just woke up again and she's speaking a language we don't understand. Then, before Lena could reply, a second voice came through. Ayla's voice. But it was deeper, not her usual voice. Mama, I remember now. I've been here before a long time ago. The call ended. Lena looked at Dr. Morrow. Something ancient was waking up, and Ayla was its key. Lena ran out of the cave. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was racing. Ayla had just spoken to her through the phone, but her voice didn't sound like a child anymore. It was calm, cold, and full of something ancient. Dr. Morrow followed behind, holding the strange map and the picture of the cave. This isn't just about Ayla, he said. This goes deeper. The whole area is linked to something we've never seen. They jumped into the Jeep and drove back to the hospital. All Lena could think about was her daughter, the child she had raised, laughed with, held through every fever and nightmare. What was happening to her? Was she even still the same little girl at the hospital? Lena burst into Ayla's room. She expected chaos, doctors, alarms, but instead it was silent. Too silent. Ayla was sitting up in her bed. Her eyes were wide open, glowing softly, but she looked calm, peaceful. The agents stood near the door, both watching quietly, as if waiting for something. Lena rushed to her daughter. "Ayla, baby, are you okay?" Ayla blinked slowly, then she spoke, but not in English. The language was soft, whisper-like, made of hums and tones. Agent V stepped forward. "That's not a human language. We've only heard it once before, from a deep space signal found in 1979. "She's not human anymore?" Lena asked, tears rising. "She is," Dr. Morrow said gently, "but something inside her isn't." The truth revealed. Ayla looked at her mom, and this time she spoke in English. "I'm still me, Mama. But I remember now." "Remember what?" Lena asked softly. "I was part of something else. A long time ago. Before I was born. Before Earth." Agent R explained. "There's a theory in science called panspermia. It means life came to Earth from somewhere else, on an asteroid or in a microbe." Dr. Morrow continued. "We think Ayla's blood holds a dormant organism, an alien code. It activated when her body reached a certain point. Maybe age, maybe emotion, or maybe the cave triggered it." Ayla touched her neck. The glowing mark was gone, but her skin now shimmered under light. "It chose me," she whispered, "to carry the memory, to wake it up." "But why?" Lena asked. Tears filled Ayla's eyes. "To save Earth," she said. "There's something coming, something very old. It's looking for this signal. For me." The room went cold. Everyone stared. "What do you mean?" "Something's coming," Agent V asked. Suddenly the lights in the hospital flickered. Ayla turned her head slowly. "It's already close. The sky breaks." That night, satellites around Earth picked up a strange signal. It pulsed from deep space, like a heartbeat. In response, Ayla's body began glowing again. But this time it didn't hurt. She stood up. Lena tried to hold her, but Ayla smiled gently. "I'll be okay, Mama. I'm not alone anymore." She walked to the hospital window. Outside, the stars looked brighter. Then, one of them moved. It came closer. A giant object, silent and smooth, and hovered above Earth's orbit. Governments went quiet. Radars failed. But Ayla whispered, "It's not here to hurt us. It's looking for the seed. For me." Dr. Morrow looked out the window. "She's the key. Her blood carries the code. She can communicate. Final goodbye or new beginning." The next morning, the agents arranged a secret transport. Lena and Ayla were taken to a hidden base in the mountains. There they met scientists from around the world. They all had one question. What is she? But Lena had a different one. Can I still be her mom? Ayla held her mother's hand tightly. You were always my home, Mama, no matter where I came from. They hugged for a long time. Then the agents took Ayla to a glowing chamber. A transmission beam sent her signal into space, and for the first time in history, the stars responded. Epilogue. 2 years later, the world changed. New energy sources were discovered. Strange plants began growing where Ayla once walked. Lena now works with scientists, helping them understand the gift her daughter carried. No one saw Ayla again, but sometimes when the night is clear and the wind is still, Lena swears she can hear her daughter's voice in the stars. I'm watching, Mama. I'll come back when Earth is ready. And every mother's heart listens. The world had changed, not with war, not with fire, but with silence and a voice that came from above. Lena sat on the rooftop of the science base. She looked up at the stars every night now, not just as a mother, but as someone waiting for a sign. It had been 2 years since Ayla left. The government still told the public she died from a rare infection. But the truth was something else, Something too big, too strange, too beautiful to explain. A new sky across the world. People noticed strange things. Babies were born with tiny birthmarks shaped like stars. Ocean plants began glowing at night. Some people claimed they heard songs in their sleep. Soft, wordless songs from space. Dr. Morrow now led a secret team of scientists, and Lena was by his side, holding the photo of her daughter every day. "We think Ayla's signal wasn't just a message," he told her one morning. "It was a bridge. She opened a path between Earth and whatever's out there." Lena closed her eyes. "I always told her she was special," she whispered. "I just didn't know how special." A flicker returns one night as Lena sat alone. Her tablet buzzed. It was from a deep space telescope in Argentina. The email had only one line. "She's coming back." Attached was an image. A shape, small but clear, was moving toward Earth. And it was glowing the same soft blue as the mark once on Ayla's neck. Lena dropped the tablet. Could it be? She ran to the control center. Sirens began to sound, but not from danger. It was an alert. Unidentified light form, approaching orbit. And then, on every screen in the room appeared a single word. "Mama, light becomes her." The base shook. Everyone ran outside. Above them in the sky a soft light formed. Not a ship, not a machine. It was like a cloud of stars spinning slowly. And then from the center, a small human shape stepped down. She looked 10 years old. Her skin shimmered like moonlight. Her eyes were full of warmth. It was Ayla, but also more than Ayla. Lena fell to her knees. "My baby." Ayla walked to her and took her hand. "I kept my promise," she said softly. "I told you I'd come back. Not just a girl daughter." Morrow and the agent stood still, watching in silence. Ayla turned to them. "You don't need to be afraid. I'm not a weapon. I'm a bridge." "To what?" asked Agent R nervously. "To understanding," Ayla said. "To peace, to what comes next." She opened her hand, and from her palm small lights floated out. They moved like butterflies, glowing gently. "These are memories," Ayla explained. "Of worlds far away, of people who never got a chance to speak. Now they would be heard." The world reacts. When the news was finally shared with the public, Earth paused. No more wars started that week. No more hatred filled the airwaves. People stood under the sky, hoping to see her. Some called her a miracle. Others called her the first star child. But to Lena, she was still just her daughter, her brave, kind little girl, who once had a strange pimple on her neck, and now had become something beautiful. Final words in the end. Ayla didn't stay. She visited for 1 week, shared what she had to, taught what she could. Then she said goodbye again. "I'll always be near," she whispered to Lena. "Just look up." And with one last hug, she turned into light and rose back into the sky. Lena stood watching until the glow disappeared, but deep in her heart she knew her daughter hadn't left. She had simply gone home, to the stars.